What is up, guys? Delboy here. So Ohara Davies defeats Logan Yoon to progress to the semi-finals of the MTK Golden Contract Tournament in the super lightweight division. I've got to say, this was a very good performance from Ohara Davies, and dare I say, a career best performance. I felt in stages he looked very good against Logan Yoon. Now, it's got to be said, Logan Yoon going into this fight was very unproven, but he was unbeaten and he had a decent amateur career in the States. I believe he was a Golden Gloves champion in his state. So Logan Yoon was going in there with the element of surprise, but Ohara Davies dealt with that really well in my opinion. And like I said, I felt this was a career best performance from Ohara Davies, or at the very least, one of his best career performances. First couple of rounds were quite close, bit of a boxing match. It was the Southpaw versus the Orthodox. Logan Yoon was the Southpaw, Ohara Davies the Orthodox, and due to that the first couple of rounds were fairly awkward and they were fairly close. Ohara Davies was trying to come to grips with that Southpaw stance from Logan Yoon, and Logan Yoon was trying to cope with Ohara Davies's awkward style and long reach. And yeah, first two rounds were close. I felt Ohara Davies did the better work. Not by much, like I said, the rounds were very close, but in my opinion, in the first two rounds, the harder shots were landed by Ohara Davies, whereas Logan Yoon was kind of sneaking his shots in. They were sneaky shots. They weren't as flashy or as eye-catching as Ohara Davies's, particularly that straight right hand and even a few jabs here and there. So first two rounds, it looked like this fight was going to be a boxing match, and I was wondering whether Ohara Davies would fall into his old trap and not really take the initiative and kind of fight within himself, Ohara Davies, for me, since that Josh Taylor defeat, has been a guy who's suffered with confidence issues, and that has come out in certain performances, mainly the Jack Catterall fight, where Jack Catterall was really concerned with Ohara Davies's power. He wasn't taking no risks whatsoever, his volume was extremely low, and yet Ohara Davies still wouldn't put his foot on the gas, because of his confidence, I would imagine. And I was wondering whether something similar could happen here after the first couple of rounds, but credit to Ohara Davies, he finally took the initiative in this fight. Round 3, Ohara Davies started to find a home for that long right hand, and that punch is obviously a really effective punch against a southpaw, especially against Logan Yoon, whose guard wasn't always the best, his defense wasn't that tight, and he was getting caught coming in by Ohara Davies's right hand. And yeah, round 3, Ohara Davies really found a home for that shot, and that shot was a factor for the rest of the fight. He was catching Logan Yoon with several hard shots throughout this fight with that right hand. And, the right hand in this fight from Ohara Davies was a lot more accurate than we're used to seeing. Don't get me wrong, he was still missing wildly at times, and he was still throwing himself off balance, but his right hand in particular was a lot more accurate than the past. The left hook, still throws himself off balance and things like that, but that right hand was very effective in this fight from basically round 3 onwards. And after round 3, in my opinion, Ohara Davies really took control of this fight. After round 3, when Logan Yoon really felt that power, I think that really sucked the ambition out of him. Logan Yoon wasn't taking risks, and he was falling further and further behind in this fight, and he was really kept at bay by that Ohara Davies power. We all know Ohara Davies is very heavy-handed, and that played a factor in this fight. Logan Yoon, it wasn't like he wasn't landing shots, but he was landing sort of sneaky shots, or, light shots. He wasn't really landing anything of any consequence. There was never really any moment in this fight where Ohara Davies was troubled with what Logan Yoon was doing. At times, he was missing, but apart from that, Logan Yoon really wasn't having any success. And like I said, as this fight went on, Ohara Davies kept on piling up those right hands. He was starting to make a mess of Logan Yoon's face. He got a cut on the bridge of his nose. He was starting to get marked up. And as the fight went on, you felt the stoppage was coming. Round 7 was a very good round from Ohara Davies. He was literally teeing off on Logan Yoon, landing right hand after right hand after right hand. Credit to Logan Yoon. That guy has a hell of a chin, because Ohara Davies, for as flawed as he is, he's extremely heavy-handed, and he was taking flush shot after flush shot from Ohara Davies. He was literally walking into these shots and they were rocking his head back, and he was badly hurt a few times in round 7, but he shook it off well, but he really had nothing to fire back with, and Ohara Davies was just working him in round 7. And in round 7, I liked the fact that Ohara Davies wasn't just using the right hands. He was actually trying to go down to the body as well to set up a stoppage, and that was good to see as well, a bit more variety from Ohara Davies. And after the terrible round 7, Logan Yoon's corner pulled him out of the fight. I personally believe Logan Yoon was the guy who kind of wanted out of that fight, because before it was announced that his corner pulled him out, he went back to his corner, and you could tell by his body language that he didn't really want to continue, and he was taking a beating, so I'm not criticising the guy. It was just my observation watching this fight as he went back to the corner at the end of round 7. But Ohara Davies wins this fight by a corner stoppage at the end of round 7, and he looked pretty good. In my opinion, like I said, this was the best performance of Ohara Davies' career. Also on this card, Tyrone Mckenna, he beat Mikey Siki by unanimous decision. Tyrone Mckenna boxed quite well, utilising his height and reach. He won a fairly routine unanimous decision. Former welterweight European champion Mohamed Mamoune, he beat unbeaten Darren Surtees by a 5th round knockout. That was actually a pretty good fight. Darren Surtees started really well. For a good first round, he dropped Mamoune in the second round, but Mamoune bounced back to stop Surtees in the 5th round. That was a good fight. And also, Jeff Ofori, he defeated Kieran Geffen on points to also progress in this tournament. So the last 4 men in this tournament are Ohara Davies, Mohamed Mamoune, Tyrone Mckenna and Jeff Ofori. Now, I'm not sure what the draws are going to be for the semi-finals, but based on who's left in this tournament, I make Ohara Davies and Mohamed Mamoune the favourites to win this. But yeah, good night of boxing, a couple of good fights, good performance from Ohara Davies. Share your thoughts below. Peace.